Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Lecter George,
and Harrison, the Adapted Historical.
We continue our coverage of Red Country, Joe's third standalone, and the next First Law entry. And this week, we read through Old Friends, Nowhere to Go, and In Threes. So let's get started. As usual, folks, you know what we got to start off with is thanking you for your support and your dedication and your undying adulation. I will say, by the time this episode comes out, it'll already been about a week past. But, ladies and gentlemen, it was our Adeptus Historical's birthday. Dun, 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 dun. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Adeptus Historical. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. I am now 111.
Yay, a spry 111. Ooh, he's still got a couple decades left in him.
What?
Older than some of the techs he's responsible for taking care of, but he does a great job. He does a great job. Yeah, so it's his birthday. Me and George, we sent him a bottle of wine.
It was a really nice bottle of wine. It had it had Narsil on it, the broken half shaft of Narsil, but it was etched into the glass itself with the sick as fuck.
Yeah, yep.
Anyways, it's very sweet.
Yeah, we George, I will give credit. George was the one that came up with the idea. I was like, ooh, let's send something. I was like, ooh, yeah, let's do it. George is the sweetie. He's the sweetheart. He's the heart and soul of this trio.
He is.
I am the dick and balls. So
And what mighty dick and balls you have, Jeffrey.
Oh, but yes, folks, please remember to follow us on our social media page and our YouTubes if you haven't. As you know, our YouTube page, the episodes are automatically uploaded there. Me and the boys were still contemplating if we want to do video podcast episodes in terms of you seeing us when we do these, or just not doing that. We'll figure that out.
Definitely have to reverse something if we do that, because the editing would be an absolute bitch.
Yeah, and we will probably have to. We're gonna have to use a different program,
yeah,
software, whatever. So we'll figure that out.
Oh, it sounds like a pain in the butt.
Big time pain in the butt. But so we just again want to thank you for your continued support. We do appreciate it. We appreciate everyone that's in the guest Discord chat. And when we say guest Discord, it's really just the Discord for everyone that wants to be a part of this Circle of the world. And yeah, if you want to join on, you know the deal. Send us an email, send us a message on any of our social media platforms, or just request. We on Reddit, because some of our homies are on Reddit still, unlike us, and we will make our return. But yeah, just go ahead and ask, and we shall extend to you the invite. It's a grand old time. We have a bunch of different sub-Discords, servers, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
We have a ton of threats.
Or threats. Yes, we engage in a lot of...
there is the occasional threat, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a Discord server, everyone.
Most of the time, it's me having to step in when George gets too drunk and starts an arbitrary argument. To the point where he thinks he's arguing, but it turns out they're actually agreeing.
We're actually 100% on the same page. I'm just too fucked to understand.
Oh, George just like disagreeing with people when he's drunk. And that's
Oh, he
No,
does.
I don't.
Yes, he does. He loves.
No, I don't.
He's already started.
Look at it. Contrarian that he is.
Prove it.
But yes, don't forget, subscribe to all of our platforms, please. Thank you very much. And we shall move on to our next segment, which is basically, the community interaction segment. And lately, it's been about the Meming Every Chapter event that Sir Spaceman is hosting over there on the House of the Meme Makers subreddit. Please get on over there and join. There's still a few chapters available.
Yeah, there's a one or two left, I think, at this point. But yeah, you might be too late at this point. But I think we should probably thank everybody that's made a chapter on there. It's been a really
Yeah.
good run.
Oh
The
yeah.
Heroes was a bit hit and miss just because it was a little bit more like free form and people didn't have to commit to the date that they said they were going to do. So
Yeah, he
I think
was trying something new with that, and it
Right.
didn't work out, and he changed it back. So
Back to basics, and it's worked. We've seen some bangers out there, some good
there
ones.
has been
We love it. We love
us leeching off the popularity of that of the meaning of a
it.
chapter has been wonderful.
just
I
give
would,
us content.
I would like to counter that and say I feel like we might have directed some newbie shoobies over there too.
Yeah, maybe we have.
Maybe we have. Maybe we have. So continue that, folks, and we'll do another. He'll do another memeing every chapter. I assume for the Age of Madness. We'll see.
And sharp
Um,
ends as well.
And sharp ends. That's true. That is true. Are we doing sharp ends before Age of Madness or after Age of Madness?
Yes, we
Yeah.
are doing it after. I mean, before. Sorry.
Before, yes. Okay, because you said yes to an
Although
open-ended question.
that said, we probably won't do it in order just because I think we could probably do an episode on all the Chev and Java ones and then like an episode for the rest.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we might break it up differently than we
Yeah.
have the others. So we'll see how it goes, because obviously there's a couple of chapters in there where there's some heavy shit going on that we may do completely different things on. So we'll see how it goes.
Very true. Very true. So we'll move on to our first chapter read-through. So this one is Old Friends. And this is the aftermath of high stakes. And well, there's quite the aftermath. We are in perspective of Temple, and he's standing with the mayor watching Papa Ring on the scaffolding that they've built for time old tradition of hanging people.
Yeah, hanging your enemies. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I love a good hanging.
You could say this is before they are hanged.
Yes.
As this, by the time you get to Age of Madness, you're just tired of all these bloody hangings.
Yeah. Okay. So Papa Ring, he's looking a little disheveled. They've ripped out the ring he had in his earlobe, and now his earlobe's just flapping. And he's out here just shouting, "Well then, here we are. I haven't always done right. Dare say most of you won't miss me none, but I've always done my best to keep my word, at least. You'd have to say I always kept my..." Basically, the mayor wasn't about this. She was like, snapped her fingers, and...
Yeah, people might change their minds if I keep letting him talk, so let's kill him.
Yeah. She's like, "You are charismatic. Die."
Yeah, and apparently it's 11 of them that have been hanged. Papa Ring, 9 of his henchmen, and the woman who had been in charge of his whores, ladies of the night. And that's it's interesting because yeah, no, very true. And the mayor goes, "Well, that's the end of that." And Temple goes, "Well, it's the end of a lot," because a lot of people, there's a lot of destruction from all the explosions. A lot of people have left. They were like, "Fuck this," and the mayor goes, "That's what we will rebuild. That's what we do." And she asks Temple if that treaty is done yet. He says, "Very nearly so," and she goes, "Okay, well, good, because that piece of paper could save a lot of lives." And I like how Temple goes, "Yeah, saving a lot lives is our concern, our biggest concern here." And he walks back up the stairs without waiting, for her to respond. So he goes back into the mayor's church of dice, and it's pretty empty, right? It's basically just Temple, Dab Sweet, Crying Rock, and Corlin around the table playing cards. And apparently Corlin looks at him with contempt, probably because she heard the story of his naked dash across the street.
I like how Corlin and Shire are pals. She's like, "How dare you left my friend out there? You hanging out to dry. You fucking wimp, Temple."
Yeah, and Sweet talks about how he doesn't have any appetite to watch any hangings because he's almost got hanged himself one time, and he goes, "No, thank you." and he walks over to where Savian and Lamb are at the counter of the bar by themselves because Cam Ling's no longer the bartender there because his face is spread out over the circle. And poor Cam Ling. And apparently, Logan Lamb is all bandaged up and everything, and he's telling Savian all the same, I still owe you big. I guess because Savian's probably saying, well, we didn't really need to do much because she found her way out of the cell, all the explosions, all the stuff. But he goes, no, well, you still did your part. Thank you anyway. And Savian goes, I'll find a way for you to pay, I think. Where do you stand on politics, by the way?
Logan's like, fuck.
He goes, I don't know. And when Temple gets close, they get quiet, and Temple asks them where's Shy, and Lamb looks at him and says, upstairs in the mayor's room. And Temple asks him, will she see me? Lamb says, that's up to her. And Temple goes, you got my thanks as well for what that's worth. And Savian goes, we all give what we can. And Temple wasn't sure whether it was meant to sting, but it stung anyway. And then he leaves them, and he hears Savian mutter behind him. He goes, I'm talking about the rebellion in Starrickland. Lamb's like, the one that just finished? Savian goes, that one and the next one. And he goes, what the hell is contest? Contest?
I love
Anyway.
it, like he's like, how can I repay the favor? He's like, you joined the rebellion.
Yeah.
Also,
go ahead.
before he goes upstairs, I like how Temple's like, there's not much going on here, like in the bar, and Dab Sweet's like, yeah, this is like the best time. It's right after all this, everybody got murdered. There's no one here. It's awesome.
But there'll be more money like taking folk away than bringing them in, right? That whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of, his job is done now, and he doesn't really know what to do with himself. I think it's kind of his vibe.
No poor suckers to scam anymore.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
What a
and
shame.
I do like how apparently when they're playing the game of cards, Crying Rock, like some of the cards she has are facing the wrong way, and yet somehow she still wins. And he gets angry. And he's like, 20 years I've been losing to this cheating fucking ghost, and she still pretends she doesn't know how to play the game. And what game is this?
I love that. It's so funny. It's like an old married couple. It's awesome.
It really is. But anyway, so Temple gets to Shy's rooms, and he's hesitating to knock, and he's about to turn away. He goes, fuck it, I'm knocking anyway. And she opens the door, and Shy's face looked a little better than Lamb's. It was, scratched and swollen, neck, a lot of bruises. It hurt him to see it like that. She didn't look upset to see him. She didn't look that interested either. She left the door open. He walked in, and she asked him about, the hanging. It's small talk about hanging, which is funny. I like to think.
Yeah, only in this world do we get that. It's just so banal. Everyone's like, yeah, same as they usually are.
Hangings. And then, so he asks her, are you all right? She looks him in the eye. She just says, a bit sore. And he's guilty, right? Because he jumped out the fucking window, naked as shit. And he goes, you're angry with me. She goes, no, I'm just sore. And he goes, what good would I have done if I had stayed? And she goes, well, I dare say you just would have gotten yourself killed. He goes, exactly. I ran for help. She goes, you ran all right. That I can corroborate.
I don't know if I like this is I don't know. I don't think I like this very much. I never really, because it feels very contrived, very I don't know. Like she even here. I mean, I like how they both admit that they understand the situation, and I like that she's like, well, I'm just not happy with you, even though I know that you didn't necessarily do anything wrong. But how it's played up for the rest of the story until it gets resolved, I feel is like it's more than that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, remember, Shy's always had a problem with, she doesn't trust people, right? She feels like she's probably, been betrayed. She's done a lot of shitty things. She probably doesn't feel like she's worthy of interpersonal love. When I say that by like like Lamb has platonic love for her, like a parent would, a
Yeah.
step parent would.
She doesn't feel like she's ever gonna get that kind of romantic love because it always has
Right,
to be. She always has to be the caretaker or the
right, and
leader.
because she has to be the caretaker, she feels like she can't count on anyone, and in the moment of vulnerability where she lets Temple in, he ran away.
Yeah.
Literally
Okay.
and
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
figuratively. So it's probably it probably opened a big wound, and even though, as we're seeing here is she knows that he probably would have just gotten himself killed, and he did get help, right? And
Yeah.
eventually they got her, but just the sight of his disappearing out the window, bare ass hanging out in the air,
Yeah.
it probably hurt, you know.
It's
Yeah.
probably the
Yeah.
fact that it was like instant as well. There was like no thought. He just like immediately types out the window.
Yep, exactly.
But I will say though, I don't know. I agree. Like I like how they're I like how the interaction goes. It feels very natural and realistic as most of Joe's stuff does. I hate that like this turns into something more, but also that's totally a Joe thing, right? Like one misunderstanding that's not even as big of a deal as one character
Oh,
thinks
I
compared to the
mean,
other.
yeah, we
Shy's
remember.
like, I need some time, and Temple's like, it's the end. Which is accurate. I like that. I don't know. I just don't like it as much. It feels more contrived. I'm like, Joe, you're better than this, but also like it makes total sense. So
Yeah,
you
I don't know.
convinced
I
me, Jeffrey.
mean, we've seen it with Logan and Pharaoh. We've seen it with, I think, what, Giselle and Artie, maybe. We've seen
Yeah.
it with misunderstandings were all over the place with Shivers Monza, right? Just
All
no
over the place.
communication
Yeah.
there. We've seen it. We've seen it. Um, but she goes, so I guess what we're saying is that I owe you my life. Thanks, Temple. You're a fucking hero. Next time I see a bare ass vanishing out my window, I'll know to just lie back and await salvation.
Savage.
Yeah. And then Temple, they look at each other in silence, and he sinks into a chair, and he just says, I'm fucking ashamed of myself. And he has no excuse. But she goes, I feel one coming. He goes, yeah, I'm just a coward. Simple as that. I've been running away so long, it's been a habit. She goes, look, don't bother. I got low expectations. To be fair, you already exceeded them once when you paid your debt. So you tend to the cowardly. Who doesn't? You ain't the brave knight, and I ain't the swooning maiden, and this ain't no storybook, that's for sure. You're forgiven. You can go your way. And she just waves him out. And even though it was closer to forgiveness than he could have hoped for, he didn't move. He goes, I don't want to go. And she goes, I'm not asking you to jump again. You can use the stairs. And he says, let me make it right. And she looks at him and she goes, we're heading into the mountains. The Cantless is going to show us where the dragon people are. And we're going to try to get my brother and sister back. And I can't promise there'll be anything made right at all. A few promises I can make. It'll be hard and cold and dangerous. And there won't even be any windows to jump out of. You'll be about as useful there as a spent match, unless neither one of us offend honesty by pretending otherwise. And he's like, please.
Ouch. Which is like the thing that hurts him is feeling useless.
Yeah. And he goes, please just give me one more. And she just interrupts him and she goes, leave me be. I just want to sit and hurt in peace. So that was all. Temple thinks maybe he should have fought harder, but he's never been much of a fighter. So he just nodded, quietly shut the door behind him, went down the steps, and went back to the counter. And Lamb goes, did you get what you wanted? Temple goes, no, what I deserved. And he started drinking. And so so he started drinking heavily, I guess you could say. And he's aware of, who's in the street shouting, probably some new fellowship pulling into town. But he didn't care. He was too busy with his own disappointments to really look up. He told the man behind the counter to leave the bottles. I wonder who this man is, because it ain't Camling. We know that. He's just
it's probably one of the mayor's people.
Yeah. And I like how he thinks to himself that there's no one else to blame, right? In this instance, not God, not Casca, not Shy. Lamb had been right? The problem with running is that wherever you run to, there you are, right? Temple's problem was Temple, and he kept drinking, and then he reached for the bottle, and somebody else got there. And this is where Temple like has a bit of a temper. He goes, "You best leave that be." And then this person goes, "Well, how else would I drink it then?" And apparently, this voice is
No
a
way.
very familiar voice.
Jeffrey, I know that tone of voice you're using. Is that Nakomo Casca?
Yeah, Temple, he looks at the hand, aged, liver spotted, dirt beneath those cracked nails. His eyes crawled up past the grubby lacework on the sleeve. And he looks to that awful familiar, hollowed visage, the nose sharp, the eyes bright, the grayed mustaches waxed to curling points. Temple goes, "Oh, God." "Close enough," said Nakomo Casca, famed soldier of fortune. And I like how he goes, "Look who it is, boys!" And then at least 24 of the familiar company of the gracious hand have made it into the Church of Dice. We have Brachio going, "Whatever the odds." And then Joubert is, "Rejoice, ye faithful." And Dimbick goes, "Scouting, were you finding us a path to glory?" And I like how Casca goes, "A drink, a drink, a drink."
Casca just happened to be there. He's got like no animosity towards Temple. He's like, "What up, homie?"
Yeah, no, he goes,
As if nothing had changed.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes.
Seriously, he goes, "Didn't I tell you? Wait long enough and things have a habit of returning to their proper place." Oh.
Oh, abusive mentorship. Yay.
I like how he tells Swarbrick to make note of something, where he talks about how he was a penniless wanderer, and Temple looks at Swarbrick, and his hair had grown considerably wilder, clothes shabbier, nostril rims pinker, and hands more tremulous since last they met. Oh, God. And he goes, "And you, Temple, what role could fit your high talents and low character so well as that of my legal advisor?" Temple just hopelessly shrugs. He goes, "None that I can think of. And let us celebrate our inevitable reunion."
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Casca just wanders through life and things just happen around him. He's just like, whatever.
Seriously.
He's
And
like,
so,
"Oh, Temple."
so the drinks are being shared, passed around, and the mayor walks in and she goes, "Gentlemen, welcome to Crease. I must apologize for the mess, but we have, and she looks at Casca, and her face drained of all color. This is the first time she was surprised, and she goes, "Nakomo Casca." And Casca goes, "None other. You must be the mayor. These days, it is a morning of reunions, apparently." I like how Temple goes, "Do you know each other?" She goes, "What astonishing luck." And Temple sees out of the corner of his eye that Shy limps down the stairs and goes over to Lamb and Savian, who are watching the arrivals in silence. He goes to, he looks around the bar, Casca. He goes, "I love what you've done with the place. Very apocalyptic." He goes, "You make something of a habit of leaving settlements you preside over in smoking ruins." Ooh, referring to the Gasca.
Not even just that one.
Yeah. And the mayor asks him, "Are these gentlemen your whole contingent?" He goes, No, no, no. We lost a few across the far country, but I would basically have 300." And Friendly corrects him. He goes, 260. And the mayor goes, "Oh, fuck." And then he goes, and then Costco goes, "Counting Inquisitor Lorson and his practicals." Then he corrects his count, Friendly, to 268. And at the mention of the Inquisition, Carlot's face turned positively deathly. And so he goes, "Anyway, here he is." The Inquisitor walks in. Inquisitor Lawson. His clothing had obviously gotten shabbier too, but his eyes were just as bright with purpose as they had been when they first left Moldova. And he goes, "This is Inquisitor Lawson, my current employer." And the mayor goes, "In honor, but if I may ask, what business might His Majesty's Inquisition have increase?" And Lawson goes, "We are hunting escaped rebels, traitors to the Union." And we
Such
are
a one-track mind, this guy.
I love how the fact that they made it all out here it's such a funny thing because Temple sees him and he's just like, "Yeah, It's like so sad. It's like he's relapsing back into just
Yeah. But I like how when the mayor says we're far from the union here, Lorson goes, the reach of his eminence lengthens yearly. Large rewards are being offered for the capture of certain persons. A list will be posted throughout town. But at the top of that list, Conthus. And I like how at that moment Savian starts coughing like and Lamb is like hitting him on the back, but Lorson's not even paying attention. He's looking at Temple. He goes, I see you've been reunited with this slippery liar. And then so he goes, all right, whatever. Because Casca sticks up for Temple, I guess, in his own way. And Lorson goes, all right, to the practicals, let's go around and we got questions to ask. And so he goes, the job is a job, whatever. And Casca goes, I, myself, came looking for a man called Gregor Cantless. And everyone just got real quiet at that name. And he hears Temple hears Shy goes, fuck. And Casca looks around and goes, so the name is not unknown then?
I love how they all just like look at each other.
Yeah, and then the mirror. Wait. You gotta let this build up, man. You gotta let this build up.
Okay. I'll cut that bit out.
I'll cut that bit out because it's my turn to edit.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
So then the mayor goes, he has at times passed through. If you were to find him, what would happen then? And then Casca goes, well, then I and my notary and my employer, Inquisitor Lorson, will very much be out of your way. Mercenaries have a poor reputation. We are not here to cause trouble, though. Why? Do you have some notion of Cantless's whereabouts?
They all just look at each other, and there's like a moment, and the man's just like, "Oh, gee, he's in the cellar."
she looks at Lamb and is like, sorry.
Yeah, she gives like a very apologetic shrug, and then Shy goes, bitch. But then Lamb, he pulls himself up to his full height and he goes, Cantless is ours. And I like how some of the the mercenaries, they've all kind of puffed themselves up and they're just, it's about to be trouble. And Casca goes, yours. And Lamb goes, he burned my farm, stole my son and daughter, and sold them to some savages. We tracked them all the way from the near country. He's going to take us up into the mountains and show us where these dragon people are. I like this description. How the old man's body might have stiffened down the years, but his eyebrows are still some of the most limber in the world, and they reach new heights now. Dragon people, you say? Perhaps we can help each other. And Lan goes, I guess you can never have too many allies. And I like how Casca goes, a man lost in the desert must take such water as he is offered. Hey, Temple. And that's obviously a callback to Hadish Kadia, rest in peace. Pour one out for the homie.
Rest in peace, Holmes.
Shy goes, not sure I wouldn't rather go thirsty, but Lamb kind of ignores that. He goes, I'm Shy. I'm Lamb. That's Shy. And, he raises his glass where he could see the stump of his middle finger. Casca goes, nine-fingered Northman. I do believe a fellow called Shivers was looking for you. He goes, haven't seen him. Casca goes, I thought perhaps this might be his handiwork, looking at all of his injuries and the bandages. And he goes, nope. I have, plenty of enemies and all that. And he goes, Casca goes, a fearsome fellow called Shivers, and I would not judge the years to have mellowed him. Which is very true.
Very true.
Very, very true. He goes, we knew each other back in Styria. Sometimes I feel I've met everyone in the world, and then every new place is peopled with old faces.
Hey, it's just like this book. It's like Casca's like subtly breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. And then I like how he looks at Savian. He goes, I don't know this guy, though. And he goes, I'm Savian. And I like, what brings you into the far country? Your health? And he paused. And then everyone's like, it's a little bit of an awkward silence. And then Shy goes, Cantless took one of his kids, too. He's tracking them along with us. Kid called Column. And Savian goes, yeah. Column, my lad.
Well, Savian is like Shy. Like Shy is funny because she's good at like negotiating and being off the cuff, but she's also not like good at like lying, or at least that's the way Pacey reads her. And he reads everybody like this though. They're always like, "Yep, nope, I totally am telling the truth." That's always how they always talk. It's great.
Yeah,
It's great
she's the slick one. He's not, obviously. And then two of the mayor's men came in dragging Gregor Cantless in manacles. And Casca goes, the elusive Gregor Cantless. I am Nakoma Casca, infamous soldier of fortune, etc., etc. Literally says
I
that.
love how he literally says etc. Like you say, he's like kind of breaking the fourth wall because he says it so many times that he's just like, yeah, whatever.
He tells Gregor that he has questions for him, and he advises him to consider his answers carefully, as his life may depend upon him, and so forth. And Gregor nods, and he goes, "Some months ago, you bought horses in a town called Greyer. You use coins like these, and it's antique imperial coins." And he goes, "I did. That's a fact." And Casca goes, "You bought those horses from rebels fighting to free Stark land from the Union." "I did. You did." "I did." Where did the coins come from? Dragon people paid me with them. Savages in the mountains up beyond Beacon. "Paid you for what?" "For children." "An ugly business." "Most businesses. They have more of these coins." "Yep, all he could ever want," he said. "Who said?" "Werdener, their leader." "All I could ever want," Casca now says. "So you're telling me these dragon people are in league with the rebels, huh? That these savages are funding and perhaps harboring the rebel leader Contis himself?" Canlis is like, yes. Yeah. "And when my employer, Inquisitor Lorson, asks you the same question, what will your answer be?" "Yes, they got that Contis up there. No doubt in my mind. Hell, he's more than likely going to use their money to start a new war." Coxa goes, "I knew it." "We must accompany you into the mountains and pull up this very root of insurrection. This wretched man will be our guide and thereby win his freedom." "Yes, indeed," says Cantless. And then they haul him out, and Shy's mad. She says "fuckers," but Lamb hisses to her like, "Be realistic." And "What luck," Casca says, "that I should arrive as you guys prepare to leave." And Temple goes, "Oh, I've always had the luck." And Shy goes, "Me too." But again, Lamb's like, "Realistic? Shut up." And then Dab Sweet goes, "Can I have a word? If you're planning on heading into the mountains, you'll need a better scout than that, fucking goofball. I stand ready and willing to offer his services." He goes, Casca goes, "Oh, so generous." "And you are," "You are," he says, "Dab Sweet." And apparently Swarbrick goes, "The noted frontiersman? I thought you'd be younger." Sweet goes, "I used to be." So Casca goes, "Oh, so you know of this person?" And he goes, "Yes. A man by the name of Marin whatever, I refuse to use the term writer in relation to him, has penned some most inferior and far-fetched works based upon his supposed exploits." And Dad goes, "That was unauthorized." "But I have exploited a thing or two. He's basically talks about he's explored every patch of this far country, almost as far as Ashrank, where those dragon people live, their sacred ground, and his partner Crying Rock. She's been even further. She used to be one of them. So born up there, lived up there. Well, actually, no one's born in Ashrank. Crying Rock says, and she knows the secret ways up there, and you'll need them because the dragon people won't be extending any warm welcomes once you're on their ground. It's strange, sulfurous, but they guard it jealously." And Costco goes, "Okay, well, what would be your terms?" He says, "We'd settle for a 20th share of any valuables recovered." Okay, well, welcome aboard. My notary will prepare an agreement. And Friendly continues the count. He goes, 274. And he looks at Temple and you. And he goes, Costco goes, "Why are all the really interesting people advanced in years?" He looks at Temple. He goes, your generation really isn't producing the goods."
Fucking boomers.
Yeah, and then Temple goes, "We cower in giant shadows and feel our shortcomings most keenly." Casca goes, "Oh, you've been Miss Temple. If I learned one thing in 40 years of warfare is that you have to look on the funny side. The tongue on this man. Conversationally, I mean, not sexually. I can't vouch for that. Don't include that, Swarbrick."
I find that is such a funny line.
And the fact that Swarbrick crosses, he says that Swarbrick crosses a line out. That means he was going to include it. It's so funny.
Yeah. I can just imagine them like looking disappointed, like, oh.
And the fact that he knew he was going to include it too, it makes it almost funnier.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And then he says, we're gonna leave as soon as the men are rested and supplies are gathered. Sweet goes, "We should probably wait till winter's past." Casca goes, "Do you have any idea what will happen if I leave my company here for 4 months?" And Dab's like, "Do you understand what's gonna happen when we go up there? 300 men get caught in a real winter storm up there." He goes, "None whatsoever, but I can't wait to find out. We must seize the moment."
He's got no hesitation. He's just like, "Yep, let's go do it."
Yeah, but Casca is already busy just toasting the events. He's gonna, Lorson, his rebels, I, my gold, these worthy folk, they're missing children. Let us toast our alliance. And then Shai says shit on this through gritted teeth, and Temple could only agree, but that's all he really had to be his say in the matter. And we end the chapter there. Boys, how do you rate it?
It's interesting. Obviously, the main focus of this chapter is Costco turning up again and ruining everything for everyone, as he always does.
Damn, that's cold.
It is. It's true though. But yeah, it's sort of a morose kind of thing for me, because it's, Joe loves to write characters that revert to the way they were. Temple and Shai were getting so far not that long ago, and now it's all just seems to have fallen apart again. So it's quite sad.
Everything's regressing again.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, it's a pretty funny chapter as well. So I'm going to give this one a 6.
A 6. Okay. Harrison?
I think I'm going to give it a 5. Kind of like I was talking about earlier. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's because we're used to the Joe Abercrombie formula. I don't know what it is. I just don't like this chapter so much. Like they pop up, and maybe it's the fact that maybe it's played up. The comedy to me is a little too played up. Not that it's not funny, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, a 5 out of 9. It's integral to the story, and it sets up the last act. But I'm also like, I don't know. It just feels a little weak in plot wise, but that's okay. It's still great.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 and a knuckle. I enjoy it. It's fun, it's like, oh, the reunion of Casca. We knew we would see him again at some point. You don't introduce Casca early on in the book, and then we kind of don't really see him. Like, you knew he was gonna make his return some way, somewhere. And
his debut.
His re-debut, his re-entrance. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Casca. And so, and it's like the timing couldn't be worse, right? Just when they're about to go get the kids, go up to Beacon or Ash Rank or whatever with Gregor Cantless, they finally got him. The fight's over. Papa Ring's lost. The mayor's won. Casca shows his fucking face, and the long cock of the Inquisition, continues to stretch over to the far country, and then and we see how Temple just kind of just smoothly just returns to his position as the notary. It's just like you said, I think it was Harrison, you said it before, just people returning to their past behaviors, or it might have been George. And we see it here, as usual. But let's see what happens. So we'll move on to our next segment, which is our best meme of the week. Judge boy, that's you. Take it away.
So this week we have a newcomer. We've got Hummingbird Butcher on Reddit, and this is part of the memeing every chapter. So this is for fun. So it's a relatively recent one for us as well. And it's it's that meme of Grandpa Simpson trying to comfort Homer and just saying the absolute wrong thing. Shai says, "What is this? A shitty pass competition?" And yes, and I win. And there's a second one in here as well, because it's a double one, and it's the GIF Sorry, the lion from The Wizard of Oz jumping out the window. Temple, let me stick. Also Temple.
And that's good perspective too.
Yeah, that's a good one. We always like seeing them moving every chapter to get the highest rated of the week. That's always good. So yeah, thank you very much, Hummingbird Butcher.
I'm sorry. That let me.
It's perfect.
Oh, oh, that's good. That's good. Imagine that's literally. Oh my god. Oh, I love these books, man. I really do. And I love the community, man. You guys are hilarious. Oh, that was good. Thank you, George. And thank you, Hummingbird Butcher. Interesting name. Let's move on to our next chapter read through, which is Nowhere to Go. And so we this is another one of those chapters where we're from the perspective of Ro. So this is gonna be the end of this part, and we're gonna start a new part. This one, yeah, Nowhere to Go. It's Ro. She pulls off the chain of the dragon scale, put it gently on the furs. Shai had once told her you could waste your life waiting for the right moment, and now was as good as any. She touched Pitt's cheek, and he stirred, but he's still sleeping. She goes, he was happy here, young enough to forget maybe. He'd be safe. She wanted to say goodbye, but she was worried that he would cry, so she just gathered her bundle and slipped out into the night. Dun, dun, dun. She's here to escape, boys.
She's doing it. She's starting to believe.
So she's keeping to the shadows. She's going through the halls of this building. This, I guess, is called the Longhouse. And she slips through the door, and she can hear through the window the voices of the elders that they're gathering. And 3 months here, and she already knew their tongue. So 3 months they've been there. So 3 months there. It can't have been more than 3 months traveling. So I think about 6 months.
You.
I think so. I don't think it's been a year.
I'm not saying it's been a year, but we know that they had just sold their harvest, right?
Yeah. It took them a few days.
So that would be awesome.
Right. Yes, exactly.
But now it's
wait. They just
coming into winter, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's coming into winter. So hold on.
Uh-huh.
So if you sell your harvest, you kind of do that at the end of summer, right? Just about
September.
Yeah, let's say August. Let's just be conservative, right? August, September, right? You just sell that stuff. And it takes them a few days to get to square deal and back.
The thing is, though, is that the whole deal with it being in the far country is that the distances are really long. That's why they have to have a whole trek. I mean, it takes. Yes. That's what the pioneers took months and months to trek across.
Remember, the Gregor Cantless's crew were traveling straight up on horses, not on oxen-led wagons like Lamb and Shai was, right?
That's true.
And Lamb and Shai had to divert to Averstock to get those 3 guys, Tall Hat and them, right? And then they meet up with the Fellowship with Dab Sweet around. So they're taking a long way around where probably Gregor and them are cutting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I see what you're saying. You have a good point, Jeff.
So I'm saying maybe, but so it can't have been if we're there just about into winter, right? So it can't have been more than like 4 months, maybe 5 months, 6.
I'd say 5, between 5 and 6, because we don't know how long it takes to get up into the mountains either.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we don't know. Plus, because actually we kind of do here in the next chapter. They say it takes them. It's been already been a month because it takes them 2 weeks to leave Crease, and then it takes them 2 weeks to track up the mountains. So the point that we pick them up, it's been a month since that point.
So maybe. So what do you think? It's 6 months?
I would say 6, probably accurate. I mean, it does take time, Like
all right, but 6 months is not a lot.
So, you're right. You're right.
So she does overhear them. And she hears that Uto is saying that the Shanka are breeding in the deeper tunnels. How are they fucking out of clay? Like, what are they doing here? This is a weird.
Well, breeding does not necessarily mean they're fucking.
Mm.
Although
we still
Jeffrey, you
don't know
liked it,
how the
wouldn't
shank
you?
are made.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
you-
probably we talked
deviant.
about it a long time ago. For those
Maybe-
who have been with us for a long time, you may recall, and before they hanged, when we talked about the blade itself, but we talked about the fact that they probably smushed themselves together, or maybe they do have sex.
Maybe
But
they
that seems weird, seeing as
may-
they're made of clay and iron.
maybe they ejaculate clay.
And then they get it all together and make new shanker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe,
so it is a form of sex.
Yeah,
They-
maybe
they jack each other up.
Well,
Oh, it's
may-
like they're just having a circle jerk.
yeah, like a bukkake into one thing, and then they kind of like ply it together to form a shape. Maybe
I feel like our podcast has slowly like lost
evolved.
class.
Yeah, I don't know if I should leave that in. Maybe we'll take that out. Because I like being classy, but then we say some wild shit. So anyway,
I was saying leave what you said in. And then leave my joke in too.
all right, I'll leave it in. I'll leave it all in. So then Akash says that we must drive them out.
Drive them what?
Drive them out.
Drive them where though? Back
back
over the border,
back
maybe?
over the border. But so Uto apparently is counseling caution, and Akash is being bold. And Uto is basically like, if we send enough for that, there'll be few left behind. And one day men will come from the outside, but they go, oh, we put them off in the place that they call Beacon, or we made them curious. Somebody says, once we wake the dragon, it will not matter. And then Waiterner comes in and he goes, it was given to me to make the choice. The Maker did not leave our ancestors here to let his works fall into decay. We must be bold. Akash, you will take 300 of us north into the deep places and drive out the Shanka and keep the diggings going over winter. After the thaw, you will return. And Uto goes, but I worry. There have been visions. You always worry. Anyway, so Ro...
my head, my visions. Although it does make you want. It's interesting that he has visions. Makes you wonder.
Mhm.
But anyways,
Anyway.
We're just gonna skip over the dragon as well.
yeah, I mean...
we'll talk about that later. Sorry, audience. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah, I guess later, because it is a weird thing. Once we wake the dragon, it goes, oh, what? But then it's the Maker's work. So it's like, what? I don't get it. So anyway.
I do like how there's this little scene though, like where she's like peeping in and we get some like crazy ass floor. You're like, what the fuck? What is going on here? Like,
Seriously.
it's completely outside the realm of everything we've heard so far. Like even in the rest of the series. It's like some cult they only steal children and they're like all devoted and they're dealing with Shanka and building a fucking dragon. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, seriously. And she sneaks past, and apparently she knows that Ikare is on guard tonight, and he's gonna be drunk as always. She just sneaks past him, and so basically, she's gonna run away to try to make it back home. And she's in the mountains, and it's winter now, and basically she's just thinking about Shy, and there's not really that much that happens here, but she does finds like the hidden stair, and apparently it looked hidden at all, but Werner had told her that there was a magic to it and no one could see it unless they were shown it. But Shy's like, but she was thinking back to when Shy had told her there's no such thing as magi or demons and it's all stories. But I mean, we know some stuff here. And she thinks about Lamb and Shy, and she goes, just keep going, don't stop. But it's snowing out there. It's hard. It's snowing hard, I mean. Then she gets to a point where the snow stopped falling, but there were still drifts. And finally, she gets to a point where she's at the edge of a very high cliff. And she stared far over, like, she didn't even make much progress. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But apparently it was long enough that there was a bit of it was a bit of a trek, but still didn't really make a lot of progress, she thinks. And out of nowhere, she hears, well met, daughter. She looks, and Werner is sitting cross-legged behind her. And he goes, do you have any meat there in your bundle? I was not prepared for a journey, and you have led me on quite a chase. And she sat next to him and just gave him a strip of meat. And apparently she found that she was very glad that he had came. And he goes after some time, he goes that it could be difficult to let go, but you must see the past is done. He pulls out the dragon scale, puts the chain around her neck, and she didn't try to stop him. And she says that Shai will be coming, but she says it very meekly. And he goes, it may be so, but you know how many children have come here in my lifetime? Hundreds. You know how many families have come here to claim them? None. You are one of us now. Sometimes people choose to leave us. Sometimes they are made to. My sister was. If you really wish to go, no one will stop you, but it is a long, hard way, and to what? The world out there is a red country without justice, without meaning. Here, life has a purpose.
Man.
Here, we need you. Can I show you a wondrous thing? What thing? The reason why the Maker left us here. The reason we remain. And she took his hand. He hoisted her up on his shoulders. She rubs his head. She goes, can we shave my head tomorrow? And he goes, whenever you are ready. And they retraced her footprints through the snow. And that's at the end of that chapter. The fucking gaslighting on this cocksucker. But go ahead, George, you were saying.
That's what I mean. It's all because it is gaslighting, like you say, Jeff. And I find it quite unlikely that nobody has ever come to get their kids.
Yeah,
no kidding.
And they probably just killed them.
Yeah, seriously.
But at the same time, the way that Joe's framed the scene is it's very tender and very paternal. So it's almost sweet at the same time.
It's manipulation.
It is manipulation, but you know what I mean.
I mean, I would say the cool part, right? It's manipulation, but also it's very clear that Werder does care for her, and in such a short time, that's honorable, and it's very clear that he believes what he's saying, and so it's not right, but it also it works because he is being genuine, as fucked up as that is.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was also brainwashed. Charlie told the exact same things, and he has just chosen to believe it. But it's still, it pisses me off. I'm like, you guys have any idea? You guys made it fucking impossible. You acting like it's the parents' fault. Well, they kind of abandoned you. That's what it makes it sound like.
Yeah.
Even though, obviously, they're all the way across the world. They were kidnapped. They probably killed their parents. They were probably told to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's messed up.
So, boys, how do you rate that chapter?
Go ahead, Harrison.
I am going to rate it. It's this hard one because it's so short, but it tells a lot, and it makes you mad. But in the storytelling, as a story should make you mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 9 because I think it does what it's trying to do really, really well. It makes me annoyed, but also I love it because it's so interesting. The dragon people, and they got their thing going on, and Werder is very interesting because he's obviously a true believer. Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the same. I think it's a very, very interesting. I love to see this whole it's like a little splinter of the world that everyone has forgotten about. It's it seems so esoteric, and it's probably one of the most fantastical things that Joe's ever written. The fact that these people live up in the mountains and the Maker left them there how many hundreds of years ago, and there's a dragon, or at least they think that there's a dragon. So I don't know. It is really, really interesting, and that's it.
Wow, you guys gave it way higher scores than I was thinking.
Well, we're not as hateful against short chapters as you are.
Well, I was angry.
We actually care about the story, not just.
I care about the story too. I get so mad at Werder right here with this fucking manipulation tactics that I want to give it a real low score. But now should I rethink it?
But that's a good thing, though, isn't it? If it makes you angry,
I guess it is
that
doing the
makes
job.
the chapter good.
Yeah, I guess. All right, I'm gonna split the difference between my original score. I'm gonna give it a 5 and a 5 out of 9 fingers. Short. It pisses me the fuck off. But there is like interesting lore just dropped into our laps here, and we're like, "Ooh, what's this dragon they're speaking of? That'd be pretty cool."
Yeah.
So, yeah, we get some grade A manipulation from the psychopath. But anyway, let's move on to our next segment, which is our character spot. Boys, who are we going to shine the spotlight on?
It's got to be Papa Ring,
Papa Ring.
who was killed without even being able to say his last words.
He
she
didn't
ain't
get
about
last
it.
words.
I feel sorry for Papa Ring, kind of. I know he's a ruthless gangster and he's probably done some horrible things and all that, but at least he kept to his word,
Word. He's all about his word.
And we know for a fact that he was going to let the mayor go, and then the mayor just fucking hangs him.
Yeah, no hesitation, no
no,
mercy.
no mercy at all.
You can't take that chance. Oh, Papa Ring.
When I was rereading this, I thought that he was in it more than he is, because he's only in it for a few parts of 2 or 3 chapters, and that's it.
He's
But
hardly
he-
in it at all.
But he's so iconic. He's got the look, and in the audiobook, he's got that sick accent.
And we
And,
got so many people talking about him.
Yes, exactly. And obviously, he brings Glamour Golden and everything into the story as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the story does revolve around him in a way. Like the
Yes.
kids wouldn't have gotten kidnapped if he hadn't have pushed Gregor to pay the money back, and then the fight wouldn't have happened at all, and the mayor wouldn't have had any reason to help him out or anything like that. So he's like kind of like a focal point of the story, but
Really is.
at the same time, he's probably got like like 20 lines in the whole thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He puts Gregor in his place, calls him a little whiny bitch. We like that.
Yeah, that is
do
that's
like
great
that.
as well.
And he's rightfully, even though it's because Greg is in debt to Papa Ring that Gregor does that, but Papa is
He didn't tell him to go fucking murder children,
kidnap
Fucking take
children. So
people's
he goes,
children.
I didn't fucking tell you to do that. Who the fuck? Why would you do that?
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah, Papa Ring. Harrison, do you want to say anything?
I like how it's just like I like how it's Joe's always doing these little minor subversions, both one way than the other. You think a character's gonna be badass or be a certain way. He's like, oh, look at this gangster. He's the classic thing, and then like, but like he is simultaneously impactful in the story, while also being hardly in it, while also not really being that ruthless of a gangster.
Mm.
While being a ruthless gangster. I love
Yeah.
it. Like he's such like a whole picture of a person. Like I would love to like hear some backstory on him, where he's got there and why he holds his honor up so high, and like it'd be so interesting. And that's what Joe does such a good job at, is like capturing an idea of a character where you want to know more, and even though you never will.
Mm. Yeah. So Papa Ring, we hardly knew you.
Barely knew you.
So we'll move on to our final segment, which is our third and final chapter read through. We start off part 4 with dragons. George, I know you love to do the quotes.
Yes, and it's a Mark Twain one as well. Everybody loves Mark Twain.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are many humorous things in the world. Among them, the white man's notion that he is less savage than the other savages.
Such a good line.
It is
Such a good-
brilliant.
Yep. It's great. And we're going to see that in full effect in this part, for sure. For sure. And this chapter is in threes. This is the first chapter of part 4. And we look at it from the perspective of Shy. And they're cold because they are on the outskirts of Beacon looking in. And it's freezing. It's it's winter now. And like we said, it took 2 weeks for them to resupply, and then it took about another 2 weeks to get there, I believe, right? And it's her, Lamb, Sweet, and Crying Rock. So they're looking down at Beacon, and she is not good at being patient and waiting. Shy. She's never been good at it. She's thinking back to her time when she was pretending to be an outlaw, pretending to be Smoke, who's half crazy with meanness, when really it was just a painfully unlucky little girl, half crazy with constant fear. And she's fidgety, and Lamb is telling her to be still. She goes, why? There's no one here in this bloody place. And then Crying Rock, does the finger to her lips like shh, and gently points her finger towards the tree line. And Sweet goes, you see those two big pine trees and then 3 rocks like fingers in between them? That's where the hide is. And the hide is like a blind where you normally would be waiting for, if you're hunting, right? You wait for your quarry. Now she goes, oh, is that? And she saw like the faintest twitch of movement. She goes, oh, that's one of them. Crying Rock holds up 2 fingers, and Sweet goes, they go in pairs. And Shy goes, oh, Jesus, she's good. Compared to, she feels like an amateur in this company, with Crying Rock and Sweet and even Lamb. And she goes, well, how do we flush them out? And she goes, well, they'll flush themselves out as long as that drunk madman Casca comes through his end on it.
I love how even they were like, this guy's
yeah. So, yeah, but basically it's been 2 weeks in resupplying, 2 weeks traveling over, right? And Chai keeps talking. She goes, seems to me that she's just talking shit about Casca, and Lamb goes, shh. And then, obviously, now the horsemen come into view, about 20 of them, floundering up in the valley. And they're making a lot of noise, as they should be. And they dismounted. They go spread out through the camp. And Lamb touches her arm, and he points down at the hide, and they can see a dark shape running through the trees, keeping low. So Sweet goes, okay, that's one. Any luck? That one's gonna run up to their hidden places, right up to Ashrank, and tell the dragon people that there's only 20 horsemen in Beacon. So this way, what strong seems weak, when weak seems strong, that kind of thing is what Lamb's saying. And Shy goes, well, what about the other?
A bit of a twist on what he normally says, which is look less than you are.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what he's kind of saying, right? But just in a different manner.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. And Shy goes, well, what about the other one? And Crying Rock puts away her pipe, and she takes out her club, and she slips out and crawls over, and Sweet, crawls over, with her. And
she just got a mallet. It's like the most
badass thing.
Like Crying Rock is like, you guys were talking about, she's kind of a cartoon character last episode, right? She's sitting there, she pulls out like a Tom and Jerry sized wooden mallet, like, we'll deal with the other one.
Oh, that's funny. And so she's just there with Lamb now, and looking at Lamb, she's looking at, really looking at him, all his scars and everything. They were there for a long time, and a lifetime of violence written so plain into that beaten anvil face. She didn't realize how she never read it there before, right? And it's hard to believe how easy it had been to talk to him before, or at least talk to him, at least, because at him. Good old cowardly Lamb. He'll never surprise you. Safe and comfortable as talking to herself. Now there's a bigger gulf between them every day. She has so many questions, and she doesn't really know what to start off with. That with the questions she does ask him, to start off, she doesn't really give a fuck about the answer, but she just asks him any question. She goes, did you fuck the mayor? And he took a while to answer, and he goes, every which way, and I don't regret a moment.
Damn.
And she goes, I guess a fuck can still be a wonderful thing between folk who've reached a certain age. He goes, no doubt, especially if they didn't get many beforehand. And I like how she goes, did you get many, didn't stop her from knifing you in the back soon as it suited her. But then Lamb goes, get many promises from Temple before he jumped out your window.
Savage. What an absolute savage moment.
She goes, can't say I did. And Lamb goes, I guess fucking a person don't stop them fucking you.
That's a great line. A great line.
And so Sweet comes trudging from the pines near the hide. He waved up towards them. Crying Rock followed, cleaning her club in the snow, leaving the faintest pink smear on the blank white. He goes, I guess that's it. And he clambers up, and so does she. She goes, can I ask you a question? And he goes, sometimes ignorance is the sweetest medicine. But he had this guilty look on his face. And he goes, I don't know how I'd stop you. And she goes, who are you? I mean, who were you? And then she goes, shit. And because she catches movement, a figure flitting through the trees towards Sweet and Crying Rock. She goes, oh shit. So she starts running and stumbling, and she bumbled down and like rolled over, and she goes, "Sweet!" She's pointing. She's trying to point, and she's yelling, "Sweet!" And this figure broke from the trees and is running towards Sweet. Glint of a blade. There's no way that Shy can get there in time. There's nothing she could do. So she yells "Sweet" one more time, and he looks up smiling and then sideways and thinking, oh shit, because now the shape had jumped up in the air and then it twisted in the air, fell short and went tumbling. And apparently, and then Crying Rock rushed up and cracked it in the head with her club. And then Savian had came out and is reloading his flatbow.
Nice.
That was a close one.
Yeah, and Crying Rock goes, "Nice shot." And I like how Sweet goes, "Nice shot," she says. "I damn near shat myself." and Shy's just out here trying to catch her breath, and Lamb walks up beside her, sheathing his sword, and he goes, "Oh, looks like they sometimes go in threes." And that's the end of that chapter, boys. How do you rate it?
I like the fact that they're being a bit careful about it. They're being clever. Because they obviously know that the people who were in Beacon got fucking massacred. Like, they just disappeared one day. Yeah. So they're not to be trifled with. And the fact that they're sending a few people up there to kind of scare them out, if you know what I mean, or to get them to come down again, that's very interesting. But apart from that, it's very short. There's not a lot.
Yeah,
there's not a lot here. So I reckon I'm going to give this one just a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 3. Same kind of reasons. The main draw of the chapter, and it's nice that they set it up like you said, George. But I think the main draw of the chapter for me is how how Logan or Lamb and Shy, how they have this distance between them that seems to be growing, and it's done really well. They're a little colder to each other. But they both still love each other, and they just don't know, what to do. And I think it's done really well here. So,
yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4 and a knuckle. Short chapter. The previous chapter had a better score, I guess, because there was lore aspects and everything. Here, not really. It's more them just okay, we're gonna sneak up on some dragon people. And that's pretty much. And we could have gotten some background or her Lamb's backstory, which we know, but we didn't get to see Shy really get any of that because of the interruption of the guy almost killing Sweet. So not much happened there. We just know that they're starting their plan of attack. They're already at Beacon, and they're going to start making their way forward. So there you go. That's pretty much it. That's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support means oh so much.
Join us next week as we cover Among the Barbarians and Bait.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media or send us an email at circleoftheworldpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. And please to make sure to rate and review us. Thank you all again for listening.
You'd have to say I always kept my